Antonio Pigafetta's first voyage around the world by Magellan. It is prepared by Group 1. Antonio Pigafetta. Antonio Pigafetta is an Italian scholar and explorer. Famous Italian traveler born in Vicenza around 1490 and died in the same city in 1534. Also known by the name of Antonio Lavardo or Francisco Antonio Pigafetta. Came from a wealthy family in Vicenza in northeastern Italy. Studied astronomy, geography, and cartography. He was the eldest child among his two siblings, son of Giovanni Pigafetta and Angeli Suga. He was a native of Vicenza, a town about 100 kilometers west of Vicenza, Italy. At the beginning of the 16th century, he served on board the ship of the Knights of Rhodes. Traveled to Spain with the Papal Nuncio, Monsignor Francesco Chirigati, until 1519. He traveled to the Molucco Island with Portuguese Captain Ferdinand Magellan and his Spanish company, while in the Philippines, Magellan was killed and Pigafetta was injured. Nevertheless, he recovered and was among the 18 Magellan's original crew who have completed the full circumnavigation of the world, returned to Spain on board another vessel called Victoria. Most importantly, Magellan kept a journal of his voyage and this is the key source for information about the famous journey.
The voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscape but having a new eyes. This famous Italian traveler, born in Vicenza around 1490 and dead in the same city in 1534, who is known by the name of Antonio Labardo or Francisco Antonio Pigafetta. He became a great friendship of Magellan's, who accompanied together in the Juan Sebastian Elcano in the famous expedition in Moluccos began in August of 1519 and finished in September 1522. He was wounded at the Battle of Cebu, Philippines, in which Magellan found death. At the last year of his life, he traveled by the land of bronze, returned to the Italy in 1523. He wrote the relation of that trip, which was the first around the world Italian, and which the little of Religioni and the Lati of Primo Vigo this circumnavigation. This account of Pigafetta is the single most important source of the voyage of circumnavigation. Despite of tendency, it includes frivolous details. His report is rich in ethnographic details. He practiced an interpreter and cone to develop at least 2 Indonesian dialects.
Analysis of the literature. The first voyage around the world is about Antonio Pigafetta's expedition with Ferdinand Magellan. Antonio Pigafetta is the assistant of Ferdinand Magellan, and that is why his writing became the primary source. The first expedition is on the Spice Island, who is under the flag of King Charles I of Spain in 1519 to 1522, and has voyaged around the world after Magellan's death on September 8, 1522. The team of the Victoria cast grapple in the waters of Seville. Have recently finished the principal circumnavigation of the world. On board was Antonio Pigafetta, a youthful Italian aristocrat who had joined the campaign for 3 years prior and filled in a partner to Ferdinand Magellan in transit to the Moluccas Island. Magellan was dead. Pigafetta's diary turned into the reason for his 1525 travelogue. The first voyage around the world, as indicated by researcher Theodore Catchy Jr., a travelogue spoke to the abstract exemplification of its classification and accomplished a global notoriety. One of the Pigafetta supporters, Francisco Chiricati, called the diary a celestial thing. The skirmish of Mactan and Pigafetta's travelogue clarifies what occurred previously, during and after the occasion occurred in Friday, April 26. Zolo, whose head of Mactan and Cebu, have spread one of the children to bring to the table 2 goats to offer some kind of reparation of the Commander General. However, he has not had the option to send it due to the Lapu-Lapu. They other boss the won't comply with the Lord of Spain. The chief general chose to send 3 battle loads of men. They were wished not to go to, yet they declined. At 12 p.m., 60 men went out, equipped, wished not to go together with the Christian Lord. The ruler, a portion of a central men, and 20 to 30 balangues. They arrived in Mactan 3 hours before dawn.
Criticism. There are 3 types of criticism. First, internal criticism. Pigafetta's work is important not only as a source of information about the voyage itself, but also includes an early Western description of the people and language of the Philippines. Of the approximately 240 men who set out with Magellan, Pigafetta was one of the 18 who returned to Spain. Then the second was external criticism. Pigafetta's work instantly became a classic that from prominent literary men in the West like William Shakespeare, Michael de Montage, and Gian Battista Vico referred to the book in their interpretation of the New World. Pigafetta's travel lodges one of the most important primary sources in the study of the pre-colonial in the Philippines. Their fleet reached what he called the Landrones Island, or the Island of the Thieves. And historical criticism. The first voyage around the world by Antonio Pigafetta was written on the board one of the 5 ships that was first to circumnavigate the world during the expedition that was led by the Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan, and after his death during the voyage by the boat of name of Juan Sebastian, they returned to the Spain that the man was only 18 left. So that's it.
Students remark. As a whole, our criticism as one, or shall we say our observation as group. The literature of Antonio Pigafetta's The First Voyage Around the World has a big contribution in the history which tackles about the expedition of Ferdinand Magellan and how they travel around the world. This literature itself doesn't talk about how Magellan circumnavigate the world or about the voyage. It also talks about the languages, people, and history of the Philippines. The real voyage of discovery consists not shaking new landscape, but having a new eyes. As it opened doors to new discover about the places where they circumnavigate.